ready to do a podcast? Are you ready to start a podcast?
I'm absolutely ready. Let's do it.
Because our voices are live, yeah?
Okay. Awesome.
Gonna throw you into it like that.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right, guys. Hello and welcome to episode number 72 of Girlstreamers. Girlstreamers is a podcast bringing you the Girlstreamers that you know and love. Girlstreamers is a community that supports and promotes girls that stream. We are a bi-weekly podcast and we'll be introducing you to some of your favorite streamers. My name is Nymphadora and I will be your host during this interview. And tonight we will be interviewing Sarah the Rogue. If there is time at the end, we'll take questions from the audience in the channel. This is a live podcast, but we will also be available for download on all of your favorite listening devices as well as YouTube. So, guys, it's been a long time since we've had a podcast. I am quite aware of that. I apologize. There's a lot of echoing. You'll have to tell me why there's a lot of echoing because I don't hear echoing.
I have it muted, so I don't think it should be anything.
I don't hear echoing. Don't scare me like that, Bridgeport.
That's okay. That's
First day back from the podcast, and apparently it sounds like crap. Because I don't hear any echoing. I hear nothing. I hear nothing. Oh
boy.
Oh man. So anyway. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Nymphadora.
Thank you for being the first person back on the podcast.
Well, it's honestly a pleasure. I love it. I was like super stoked when you messaged me. Like I was telling you earlier, I almost dropped one of my mum's antiques. I was like so thrilled. I was like, ah! And she's like, don't drop it. I'm like, I'm sorry. Really good news. I like freaked out. I was so excited because it's just amazing to be contacted by your lovely self.
So for those of you who are unaware, SarahtheSparrow, aka Sarah the Rogue on Twitter, is our streamer of the month this month. So you guys need to go follow her. She is an awesome streamer. She used to be Pancake Buns, but she has changed her name.
The Pancake Bunnies are no more.
Pancake Bunnies are no more. So definitely go check her out. I don't know why that's not working, but okay. There we go. It worked. None of this stuff is working like I want it to work. This is fantastic. Lovely.
It's Streamer 101. Nothing ever goes to plan, but it's okay. We adapt.
I've been doing this podcast for 4 years now, and I still don't know how to do it.
You're doing a fine job. Don't worry.
So yeah, we've changed the format a little bit for how we're going to do the podcast. We're going to feature our streamer of the month from now on. So this is our first time we're going to have streamer of the month in the month that she was actually streamer of the month. Yes. So super excited for that. Happy to have you here. And yeah, we're kind of changing up the format. It's not going to be the standard interview. I ask you questions, you give me answers. It's going to kind of be just a discussion. We have some stuff that we want to chat about tonight. And yeah, I do actually have a question that I asked you in the pre-show, and I kind of want you to explain it a little bit now because it deals with your channel. Why the name change?
Okay. So when I first came onto Twitch as Pancake Buns, that was merely a gaming tag. It came from literally like two of my favorite things, pancakes and bunnies, and I've always wanted a rabbit ever since I was probably like as tall as my desk, not as high as, oh my god, as tall as my desk, which is very short, and I mean I'm already short, so but that's saying something. And it was just a very quirky username that was on PlayStation Network. Took it, Then all of a sudden, across every single platform, it was available. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll be Pancake Buns then. And as I got more into streaming, I kind of realized that it could go places, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And it wasn't what I was really about if I was going to be serious about streaming. And I do take everything that I do very seriously as like if it's a job, because this is a job to me. This is something that I want to put out there and then be like, oh, have you ever heard of like Sarah the Sparrow? She's really cool. She does X, Y, and Z. But if I was Pancake Buns, it was more just like, oh, this is just a hobby. I don't know what I'm doing. And it kind of just like it was sitting with me. And as a Bridgeport, which is in the chat, she's like my best friend of 7 years. She and I do a lot of like fantasy writing back and forth with each other. We're both Dragon Age nuts, and
It's a good game.
it is a fantastic game. It's my life. um, but she and I are always very creative, and she's kind of helped me like shape the whole personality. She's very very amazing when she listens to ideas back and forth. And then the one I just got like always constant feedback on that was amazing was my rogue character, who was the left hand of Leliana, who is the main spy character, and she's a nightingale. And I was like, oh well, looking at the lore and everything, there's no character called Sparrow, so Sarah the Sparrow.
Nice.
So, and then she's just always known as Sparrow, and then to her friends and close confidants, she's Sarah. So
I like
it
it.
was just kind of fun. Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it. And so it kind of helped your stream evolve into what it is now, correct?
Yes, because it just made me feel more like I can come onto the computer and be who I am. Like this, like the Sparrow Sarah that you get on stream is the same Sarah Sparrow that you get in Discord, in real life. Basically, like I'm as I am. And it's also great because Twitch has kind of helped fill in some of the gaps that I've had. So I don't really think of myself as very social and everything when I'm in real life, but Twitch has really made me like kind of come out of this shell. And I'm able to be as I am on stream. Like I'm very, very witty to people. I'm very like quick at like getting like puns back and forth and everything. It's just so bloody fantastic. I love it. I love it.
I know we've had a lot of repertoire back and forth in
Hmm.
streams, and it's quite enjoyable. Um, so I reached out to you to ask you if there was anything specific that you wanted to approach because
Yes.
the direction we're taking for the podcast is to kind of focus a bit more on the things that you guys like that is like the core of you. So one of the
Yes.
things that you mentioned was STEM, and for people who don't understand, it's an acronym that means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I'm just gonna let you chat. Like, just tell me,
Okay.
like, why is that such a passion for you?
Okay. So for me, the whole STEM movement, um, I just to preface it off, I really love the whole idea of like empowering women to go and like do things that are like impossible and unachievable by normal standards. And I love being able to push the boundaries and just like kind of find your true passion and everything, whether it's like amongst like coding or whether it's amongst like building robots, whether it's um fixing ships for NASA or something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
even just being a doctor or like pharmacist for like Merck or something. It's like such a cool feeling when you can just be like, hey, I know how to do this. That's so easy to do. And it's something that most people will be like, wow, that's so neat. And for me, when I was in high school, I was kind of like pressured a bit by my dad to follow in his footsteps of being a chemical engineer. And I never really wanted to do that, to be very honest. It just the engineering was fun, don't get me wrong, but the whole idea of like the chemical engineering just it wasn't my type of engineering. And I initially was actually an architect major. So I did that for about a year. And then I just encountered a really, really not so great studio professor, and she just always constantly kept dissing me for my projects. But other girls in the class would also get dissed for their projects. but then all the boys would just get praised. And I was like, okay, no,
And
we're
this
not
was
doing
a
that.
female professor? This was a
Yeah,
woman professor.
yeah, and she was a young woman professor. So I'm
Okay.
I'm throwing it out there. I'm not insinuating anything, but just saying.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what, just nah. But ever since I was, I think, I want to say maybe like 5 or 6, and I first went to our local vet because we had gotten kittens at that point, and they were all getting vaccines and stuff. I just loved the way that the vet was with the animals, and I was like, I want to do that. And in my yearbook for what was it, maybe 3rd grade, I said I wanted to be a singing veterinarian because that's what I wanted to do with my life. That was my aspiration. And I'm like, yes, we're gonna do it. But again, over time, it was more or less my dad being like, you need to be an engineer. Just you can get your head out of the clouds. A lot of actually my elementary school teachers said I wasn't smart enough to be a veterinarian because I was a girl, which was ridiculous. They said I could try being a nurse, I could try being a vet tech, or I could try being a teacher or something else like that, or
What?
something in the arts. Yeah, it was just, oh man. Especially my 5th grade teacher. I absolutely hated that lady. I'm not gonna swear on the podcast, but she's pretty horrible.
That is horrible.
It was, and that's also a reason why I love like the whole idea of the STEM movement, because if you want to do something that is like what other people are going to try to tell you you can't do, or they're going to push you and say no, you shouldn't be doing that because it's not in your realm of possible. I'm like, no, that's not okay, because I want to do what I want to do at the end of the day. And if giving injections of distemper vaccines and Lyme vaccines to cats and dogs is what I want to do with my life, I will do it. If I want to go ahead and analyze poop samples for the rest of my life, I will do it. So,
Is
so
that your
I mean,
current major?
yes,
Veterinarian? Okay.
yes. So it's a major at New Jersey College, animal science, and it's more focused towards helping you get to veterinary because there are no like veterinary graduate schools in the
Right.
state of New Jersey.
Okay.
So, which is really helpful because if you aren't in a state with a school like a graduate school, it usually makes it a lot easier for you to go out of the state and find that graduate school. You usually get better acceptance rates.
Check out
Um,
University of Georgia. It is one of the best veterinary schools in the
Georgia,
entire.
I'm looking at Georgia, NCSU,
I have a friend who
few other places.
it took her 3 years to get into the program because it is so they're strict, but it's
Hmm.
so good. She finally got into it and she went to UGA for her undergraduates.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that's the area I'm from, so I know a lot about the state. But it is
I love
their
it.
their agriculture, their agri-science it is by far one of the best in the nation. It really
Yeah.
is. Um, so good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
But going back to the whole just like the reason I love STEM is, there were a lot of people who I met like in that first year of college that were all like, it was like the whole major of animal science was more females, and I was like, this is so weird because that wasn't what I was told. And when I was still in my old school, because I went out of state for the architecture and then I did a year of biology and basic chemistry and everything else. Then I go back to my home state, and then it's that animal science major, and I'm like, there are so many women here, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I talked to them, and they're like, oh yeah, we think it's a great idea because at least from the animal science, we can go into so many different fields. Like we can go into like horse medicine, we can go into like the pharmaceuticals, actually working on developing like the different drugs, like all the flea and tick medications, like pain medications, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, wow, okay, that's great. And then I met a lot of female engineering students. I'm like, wow, okay, this is great. And I had a chat with a teacher there who, she doesn't work there anymore, which makes me so sad. But she told me that she also got a lot of like backlash from her family when trying to go in for because she did like endocrinology studies with farm animals, specifically pigs. I remember the pigs because she used to like sleep next to the pigs while they were in the brooding house and everything. And Oh, it's fantastic because we
That's
have
devotion right there.
well we have a sow watch because we have different practicums, so you can work with cows, horses, sheep, pigs, and goats, and they all cover like different things. I mean, I've already done the horse one, which is fantastic. I wish I could do it like 15 more times, but it won't count. I've also done the cow one as well. So I think my next one either is going to be the sheep or the goats because I cannot
Have you
stand this
put your
feeling of
arm
the
in a
pigs.
cow's butt yet?
I have.
Me too.
Yes.
It's weird.
It is. It is absolutely very
You
weird.
put
It's
that
also
weird ass glove on and
yep.
just ugh.
It's also weird to artificially inseminate a cow. It is
I have not done that.
crazy. It's crazy. Oh, I would rather like wrestle a horse to like have like my arm around its neck and try to inject like a pain medication paste into its mouth while it's trying to kick me in the face. I would rather that than do anything with the cows.
Oh my god, yeah. I grew up around a
Mhm.
lot of farm. I mean, I grew up around UGA, so there's
Mhm.
farmland everywhere. All of my friends had farm, like they all worked on farms, so of course we
Mhm.
all got to work on the farms with them, right?
Yes.
So, that's when I learned I didn't actually want to be a vet.
Well, see, I'm like, I don't want to be a large animal vet, but being a small animal vet and exotic animal vet, possibly. But the only problem is I have a very horrible phobia of snakes. So I'll do every other animal except snakes.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's horrible as well. Like I currently work at a veterinarian's office as a vet tech, and whenever there's a snake scheduled, or like my coworker he's scheduling the snakes. I'm like, you better schedule them while you're on because I'm not touching a snake on my Wednesday when I'm by myself. Sorry, no, thank you. Nope, nope. So
Oh
it's
my
crazy.
god. Um, so when it, why do you think is the in? Why do you think there is still backlash? Because to me, like I'm a bit older than you. I didn't
Hmm.
experience that in school as much as you did. I guess I just happened to have teachers who were very encouraging of people doing what they wanted to do. I also
Hmm.
had parents who were very encouraging to do what they wanted to do. But I'm also the person who went towards the arts route, which is more appropriate for women, you
Which
know.
I think is so stupid because it's like every subject and major is appropriate for everyone.
I agree. I
Like
agree.
that because like you have like brilliant um gentlemen who are like fantastic dancers and they're like in the ballets and they're amazing at what they do. You have fantastic graphic artists who are these like media moguls and they started as like drawing cartoons in their mum's basements because that's what they were doing instead of like playing their football or whatever. Then you've got these girls who are, they're like, oh, well, we want to go play in the dirt because we want to learn about like all the different soil samples. And then next thing they're becoming, you know, like the secretary of like agriculture for the state.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's an amazing thing that we can like kind of do that. And I think that this new generation kind of gets more of that acceptance. But me, I was born in the 90s, so I was in that like 2000s growing up era where it was still kind of like mildly taboo,
Mhm.
but it was like we kind of saw a bit of a progression towards it. But it was like compared to everything else, like when I was a child, the Barbies that I had were more like hair designer Barbie, like color changing hair Barbie, babysitter Barbie, and now I see there's like bot coding Barbie, there's rocket scientist Barbie. I'm like, that's fantastic.
I wish
Like
I
it's
had those
stupid.
kind of Barbies when I was a kid. They
Same,
did not
because like
exist.
exactly they didn't. Like I remember when Christmas, my mum got me um a vet set, like the little fake ones you get, and it was like pink. It was just girly, and I'm just like, that's all I remember about it. It wasn't like it was like a normal vest. It was just like it was pink and girly, and I'm just like,
Why is it always got to be pink or purple?
I don't know. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love those colors, but I'm just like, does it really have to be? Like, I'm looking at stethoscopes, and they have like neon. They have like hot pink ones, and then they've got like really pretty like deep purples. I'm like, oh. I like those. So
Like
I'm tempted, but you know.
like my husband's favorite color is purple. Like a guy, um, liking a girly color is looked down on. But if you look at the history, if you look at color history and color theory,
Yeah.
there's no like gender assigned to it, right? Like
Well, not even
purple.
that, but but yeah, purple was like given to royalty because it was such a difficult pigment to even create, and it's just like things you kind of just have to like stop and sit there for a second. You're just like, are we really doing this right now? So, so I don't know, but especially though to me, like I said, it was when I made my switch to veterinary medicine that I got the most support from my mum. Which hi mum, she's watching as well. And I think honestly, without her kind of like pushing me, because she used to be an optometrist in the UK, and
Oh God! Someone. I'm sorry. Someone just said something. We're pink and purple as Girlstreamers.
uh-oh,
I just called out
uh-oh.
our own branding.
I'm sorry, Miss DJ. I'm sorry.
Okay, but to be fair, these pink and purples are not like they're not like the bright pink, bright purple, right? They're a
They're
bit
subtle.
they're a bit more like meaty, I guess. I don't know.
It's like best stop now before it gets even worse.
Yep,
Oh dear.
yep. I'm done. I'm not saying anymore. I'm not saying anymore. Not saying anymore.
Oh my goodness.
First day back on the job, and I am royally screwing up. As I have purple hair. Or pinkish purple. I don't even know what color this is at this point. Ugh. Anyway. Back to what you were discussing.
Yes.
Your mom's an optometrist.
Yes. My mom is well, she was an optometrist in the UK, but you know, when you usually do like that jump from the UK or anywhere in Europe to America, you usually have to take like that recertification. And
Right.
at that time, when she came in the 80s, you know, she didn't have the means to do it. So she still got a job like in New York, working at like Eye to Eye Vision Center, I think. And you know, like she was still using all of her knowledge and her know-how, and it's amazing that you know this woman who went for it, and she was like pushed, like you know, pleasantly pushed by you know my grandpa into like going to something science, technology, and mathematical because he was an engineer. I was like, I just really respected that. I think because she at least you know like she had like her choice of like what she wanted to do from my understanding. But she still like went towards that even though she still loves like her art and history. But even now because she's an antique dealer on what she does, and if you were to ask her about like still glasses and everything, she could still you know just pick out like the perfect frame for you. She can still read the prescriptions and she can still like do all that jazz, and it's just amazing to see the woman work. It's just I love it. I love her and I love it so much. And honestly, like yeah, I know.
So
It's getting all
gross.
mushy, just getting all mushy over here. But
So gross.
I know. But honestly, like if it wasn't for my mum pushing me and telling me to you know find something that really made me happy, I don't think I would be where I am right now, which is pleasantly in this podcast. Sitting here as a goodness knows what year veterinary student because when I transferred over, none of the courses transferred over, so I have to like redo everything. Just pain.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But it's I don't know. I think it's just like a thing as well. Even when talking to some older ladies, when I'm like, when they ask me, "Oh, so what do you do in school?" and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a pre-veterinarian major." They're like, "Oh, I really wish I could have done that." And I said, "Well, you still can if you want to. I mean, there's nothing stopping you. Like, you know, there are people who are, you know, well into like their 80s, they're still going back to school and everything. And I'm just like, if you honestly have the drive for it, there's nothing really stopping you. You know, it's just because we're in this new age now. Like I was saying, like that, you know, the kids are getting their Mattel stuff with the coding. They're being pushed into like molecular gastronomy kits for kids and all this other crazy great stuff. And I'm just like, this is what I wanted when I was a kid and didn't exist. And I think the closest thing I had was make your own rock candy. And I'm like, great as that is, that's not as sciencey as one would hope. So, you know,
I
but
always really enjoyed biology in school, and I really enjoyed the dissecting and seeing the insides of everything.
yes.
Like I love that, and um I really enjoyed like just basic anatomy. Um
Hmm.
Mostly for plants and animals, cuz I loved looking at plants and stuff under microscopes.
Hmm.
Um I got into that kind of stuff, and I look back now, and had I not gone the route I'm gone, had I had I known there was a somewhere for me to go with that
Hmm.
kind of thing, I could have possibly went that route instead of the route I went.
Right.
Um, but because listening to you talk, and I'm thinking about like my personal experiences, because that's what we do,
Hmm.
there isn't really there hasn't really been that kind of encouragement for women to where I was encouraged was my arts, not my sciences. Now that I look back on it, it it's weird that that's a thing. And I coming from across the pond, um, and knowing like, do you think I don't know if you can even attest to this or speak on this. Is it a cultural thing here in America, or do you think it's a cultural thing in general for
So, I
everyone?
mean, for me, I had the benefit of like being brought up in America and then having fully European British parents. And I think that kind of had a different viewpoint as far as it being they were really pushing me to get something that is at least like, in the worst case, if something happens, I still can keep my head on my shoulders and
Mm-hmm.
I won't be like lost at the end of the day. But it's still the same thing that, there are some times where I'm just like, I wouldn't have been bad to have been like a teacher. I think I would have seen myself doing that. As like so many things I could have seen myself doing. But at the same time, it's like, I really do enjoy the fact that when I'm working as a tech, um, I like being able to know that I've helped someone's animal. If that makes any sense, because it makes me feel like, they're like, wow, like you're going to be a future vet, and you kind of have like my pet's best interest. And like I really haven't noticed, I guess, like too much, because again, around my area, a lot of people, they wanted to either go into the arts as well, or they were like, oh, we don't know what we want to do when we go into school. So my only experience about like a kind of STEM background was just from myself and my family, my dad's side, because all the women are doctors, all the men are doctors, or they're engineers. Like my uncle's a cardiologist, my other two aunts are like in emergency room medicine, and then my dad's engineer, and then my other uncle's an engineer. And the kids, literally, my two cousins right now are med school, and then I'm veterinary medicine. And I think that's just like, it's also part of the reason why I just kind of felt it was the normal for me to be like, I don't see why it would be a problem for you to want to go into this, because it's kind of normal on my side of the family. So it was like kind of one of those like interesting things, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, I find this subject really fascinating because I've heard of the STEM. I didn't realize it was like a push, right? I've
Hmm.
heard the acronym before. I knew it. I know what the acronym is, but I
Hmm.
didn't realize that it was a push other to get more than just men in those fields. Um, which I think kind of core it's kind of appropriate for what Girlstreamers is, because
Right.
while yes, we are entertaining as streamers, we're also essentially helping test games. We're um, doing all kinds of stuff with video games, and a lot of us get we'll get into beta, so we're testing. And a lot of the girls we have a lot of coders that are in Girlstreamers.
Yeah, like a
And
lot of the time. Sorry, I was gonna say like a lot of the time I find that I'm like fixing my own bots, like coding back and forth because like
yeah.
something's just out of place, and I'm just like, oh come on, are you serious right now? And then bot's just like, no, I don't want to work for you today. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. No, stop, don't do that.
And it's amazing. I mean, we have over 1,400 girls in the Discord. I mean, that's not a lot if you think about it. I mean, the Discord is a private Discord, and we are only open to people who identify as women, as female,
Mm-hmm.
just as a safety thing, right? More than
Right.
anything, because there are people who try to deter girls from doing these type of things, right? And
Right.
there's so many more than just what's a part of Girlstreamers. So many more that want to be. I just realized that my microphone is pink.
Oh no.
I really hate myself right now.
Oh boy.
What's ironic is my favorite color is green, but because I use a green screen, I can't wear green. I can't have green anywhere.
Oh boy.
So anyway, so I'm curious what um do you think there's a place for more uh communities like Girlstreamers in whatever field? Do you think that having something like Girlstreamers helps benefit things like STEM?
I would definitely say it would, because in our Discord, to take it as an example, there's like you said, so many ladies know about coding, so many know about like all the technical nuances to streaming. We know about all the proper like components to building PCs on the side. And when I was building Betsy, which is my tower, I had like so many people being like, if you need help, just message me. I'll be like, no, it's okay, I'll figure it out. And I was like, so I was like terrified, but just seeing like that everyone was like, no, you'll be fine, you'll be absolutely fine, it's not as scary as you think. And I'm just like, it really wasn't. But the thing I think as well, if you make like kind of very like female empowered things to like teach people, like teach females, teach women, you can build a computer if you want to. It's not that scary. You can learn to code. It's not that scary. You can learn to be an engineer. It's not that scary. I think that that really helps break down that stigma of it being, oh, it's just a man's world only, that you can only be men building a computer. You can like you can go to a guy to build a computer. Like when I had my very old tower and I got a brand new graphics card, which was
Sorry.
I think it was a 660.
That was really loud. I did not know that was going to pick up my dog.
Oh, it was actually mine, I think.
Oh, was it? Because my dog also did things in the background at the same time.
It's probably my dog. She just like she woke up from a nap.
Oh, I thought that was my dog shaking. Okay, that's funny.
No. Yeah, that happens. It's actually like a thing now that I have to make it a command. It's like every so often I'm just like, Lucy, Lucy, stop it. Oh, don't look at me now. Because she's like, oh, now you want me? So she'll do things like in the middle of streaming, everyone hears like squeak, squeak, squeak. And I'm just like, no, but don't look at me like that. Sweet pea, don't look at me like she's looking at me. She's like, how dare you?
My dogs
How
like
dare you,
to lay
Daniel?
right behind my chair. And so,
Oh my
like,
goodness.
I'll roll backwards and they'll hop up. And you'll just see, like, little tails just, like, walking behind me.
Oh, so sweet.
Anyway.
But I just think that's so funny that happened at the same time. So I had got in. It was like I was so happy. It was a 1060 graphics card. It was absolutely shit. excuse my language, but
Fine.
it it was a horrible graphics card now that I learned about everything. And I took the tower and this brand new graphics card to the guy who works at my dad's company, because he's a small business owner. And it was like, I tried to tell him, like, I want to learn how to build this computer myself. And he's like, no, it's okay, I'll do it for you. And I was like, no, 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 I want to do it myself. No, it's okay, I'll do it for you. And I was just like, but no, that's not what I asked. So then instead he does the whole installation, and I'm sitting there at the end, I'm just like, it doesn't feel right that that just happened. So I was just like so miffed, if you will. And I couldn't believe that, he was like trying to assert himself, like, oh, I can build the computer. You don't need to learn how to do it. It's fine. Just come bring your computer to me and I'll fix it. I'm just like,
Just tell me.
nah.
Like, just teach me on how to do it.
Exactly. And it's just, it's so crazy.
There is a weird stigma where it is very weird that I've never really thought about it, but there is kind of a fear, like a daunting task that also, for those of you who are watching the video portion, I'm really sorry that my Snapchat keeps doing filters. I apologize for that.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh when I see him. I'm just like, okay.
I've been trying to log into the closed caption thing so that you guys can get at least like my version of like what's being said, but it's not working. The extension's not working. And I'm trying to do it in the middle of the podcast and it's just not working. So I apologize. I'm really sorry for looking crazy.
That's okay. I'm just like, okay. I'm
She has
try not to laugh.
Right? It's a test, and you passed. Yeah, I apologize. Like, I forget that they're key bound on my number pad. So I'm just like, I look up and I'm like, oh, wait, my face looks really weird like that. I should probably fix it.
Like, oh, it's the Red Dead Redemption face. Hold on.
We're being really serious right now, and I have a mustache that's twirling. This is not good.
Basically.
Oh my God. This is just we're off the rails at this point. We're just off the rails at this point.
We're absolutely fine.
It is, but it is quite interesting that as a woman, it does seem to be daunting. Like when I look at the computer and like I love my computer and I'm in the process of paying off one of my mods for building my computer. For some reason, our closed caption is saying hello, hello, hello. That's weird.
Okay.
All right. This is just lovely. Lovely. I think someone's in the background testing. Someone's testing things. So I'm sorry for not having closed caption for our deaf streamers who like to enjoy this. I will hopefully, I think it's on my end. It's not, I think it's on my end. So I'm going to edit all of that out.
Do what you need to, don't worry. To kind of reel it back in there, when I was building Betsy 2.0, because first one was named Betsy, I had like 3-4 really great guys like helping me, and one of them was a friend that I met from raiding him on Stardew Valley, and he was just like so super helpful. He was busy streaming, and he's like basically going, yes, Sarah, you're doing that. Yes, Sarah, just put it in. Just don't worry about it. Just connect it. It's absolutely fine. And I was like, what if I break the piece? I don't know. He's like, just relax. Just put it in. It's supposed to make a snap. And he's like in the middle of like streaming Super Smash Brothers. And he's still telling me what to do. And then his mods are like trying to mess me up because they're like his best friends and they're like now become my close friends, which is hilarious. And they're just like, no, Sarah, it's okay. It's going to break as soon as you touch it. And I'm just like, no, don't tell me that. And then I remember one of my other friends, we also met through streaming. He found me through the games I used to play as Pancake Buns. he was also really sweet when I'd just be like, can I just call you for like 5 seconds on a video chat and you can tell me what to do? And then that 5 seconds turned into like half an hour to like an hour. And it was just like, they were just super helpful when it came to, really like pushing me to do things because they're just like, you can do it. Like, you don't
Oh, that's
need.
awesome.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I really loved that mentality that they were like kind of still like teaching me what to do, but they weren't physically like doing it for me. And that's what I really love when people do that because if I don't do it myself, then I'm never going to learn. And that's been the biggest thing that, my parents taught me since day one. If you don't do it yourself, you're never going to learn. You're
Yes.
just going to, you're going to see people doing it and then you just be like, yeah, okay, I know how to do it. And then when you get to doing it, you don't know what to do.
I was taught that as well. Yeah.
So,
I learn very much by doing for myself instead of
mhm.
actually just watching. Yeah. And it
But,
is very scary. And um I think a part of that dauntingness is kind of because women for ages, have been shuttled into a specific category, right? And we're all supposed to
yes,
be a specific way.
yes.
And so it's weird to be an individual. It's weird to like something that's not the quote unquote norm. And I know we've discussed, I mean, this is a topic that a lot of people that's really close to our hearts here at Girlstreamers, period, which is why, we have this and we want to encourage the women to be individual and to be themselves. Yes, as a collective, we're all girl streamers, but we're all very much individual. And
Hmm.
one of the things that you said you wanted to actually also address was that aspect of individuality and trying to be different and trying
Yes,
to be your essentially authentic self, which um, is I think these two subjects actually are very closely related.
hmm,
um, because of the fact that women have not been allowed to really, you have those few women who are badass and who have done stuff in the field like inventing the first computer, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And but they get clouded over because they're women, right?
yeah.
And they're not the normal woman. So for you, as far as you making that decision to do the vet stuff instead of doing what your dad wanted you to do, and coming from England to America, like what was your process coming through that? How did you deal with all of that? Like what made you say, "No, I'm going to do what I want to do because this is what makes me happy."
So, as I was saying, like it more or less is because I was born in America. I think that that just gave me that whole leverage because for me, what it was is that I was born in America, live here obviously, and then we just would go back and forth a lot of the time. So it would
Mhm.
be like a few months here in the US and then a few months in the UK and then back and forth and back and forth. And then as I got a bit older and school got a bit more serious, we stopped doing that as much. So it would just be in the summers. And my mom also had like her group of friends here as well that were she had like a UK group and a US group. And then, as time grew and, she got more comfortable, my dad got more comfortable, and I got more comfortable, we just kind of branched away because they were all like, oh, we miss X, Y, and Z about the UK, X, Y, and Z. And it was like, okay, but, you got so much stuff to like offer here and everything.
Yeah.
Um, basically. And I think what really did drive me, it wasn't until my second year in my first college, which was the out of state one, when Bridgeport Witch, who's in the chat, she was telling me because she used to have a lot of kittens that would just pop out of the air because of just the wild ones that she'd pick up and the ones that she and her dad would feed, and they're just absolutely adorable. And she would be sometimes messaging me, like we would stay up like till goodness knows when. I mean, we still do anyway, and I kind of keep her from work, but yeah, just that's another thing. Um, but she would be messaging me. She's like, these kittens have really low blood sugar. I don't know what to do, and they're like, they're like dying left and right. And she's like, I don't know what to do, and there's no way I can get to a vet and X, Y, and Z. I was like, Let me think of something. So then I took to the internet and I'm reading through all these stuff, and then they had the textbooks in the library, and I'm reading through those as well, and I'm just like, Caro syrup. So I tell her, I'm like, get some Caro syrup or some kind of sugary syrup, lace it lightly on their gums, and let them, process it for a bit. And then it was like amazing when she was like, some of them are actually like surviving now. Like they actually have a chance. And I'm like, holy crap, I just did that. I was like, holy crap, I just did that. And it was also like when she would, I think it was another time that I don't remember what it was, and I don't know if she's still in chat, but she might know what time it was. But she was having an issue like getting information from the vet, and so I did my I did my best, intimidating vet student, uh, call, and I talked to this vet, and I was like, "Listen," I said, "I'm a vet student. I want to know what X, Y, and Z is going on with her cat," and da 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 da. So then I wrote everything down. I looked it up. I tried to kind of translate it, and I was like, "Okay, so that's what's going on with the cat. So it's fine." And I somehow impressed the guy, the vet that was calling, even though he was really horrible. And she can attest to that. He was horrible. Um, but it was those two instances that was just like, this is what I've wanted to do. Like I said, ever since I was a small kid and I first saw like the vet just being so kind and caring with the animals, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be surrounded by animals all day. And just like being able to take care of them, like this cat comes in with a broken paw, I can like splint it up and then we can go. A dog comes in and it's got like a little bit of like a mass on it, we can just easily take off and send off, and it's like benign. It'd be great, like I can save an animal that way. And it was like a lot of the time that I didn't notice until more recently that I would be trying desperately to talk to like my dad and my mum, and I was like, I really want to volunteer in an animal shelter or something, or intern with someone, because we had to do an intern project in high school. And it was like, no, you're gonna go intern with this guy who does some kind of like civil engineering. And I was like, I it's like, all right, fine. So I was was kind of more or less forced then to go along that path. And it's sometimes I'm just like, well, I kind of wish I did more with the animal stuff, because that would be more fun. That would have been also more useful now. And I think had I initially gone in as either a biology major and then to something else, or even I know because I went out of state to Connecticut, and University of Connecticut has also the animal science program as well. And I was like, I could have gone there. I could have done everything through there, and I could have been like already on my way. And but I mean, like all these things as well, which is sometimes one of those like what ifs, which kind of also makes me who I am as well. Because I'm like, there's all this big thing about time and place. And I think, especially like the timing and the place of the reason why I went down this path is because it was created for me, but I still have the option to change
Mm-hmm.
things in of it, because that's, who I think we are, that we can do that. We have that option to change if we want to. And I just, I think that basically, my goodness, I don't know, just, my train just went like, shoo.
It's all right.
I
It's
was
all
right there and I
right.
was like,
It's okay. It's okay. It happens. It happens. No, so one of the things you mentioned was like with with some of the things that you actually struggled with were
Mhm.
was your accent and stuff.
Yes.
Like cuz you were
Yes.
trying to conform to the American, what'd you call earlier, Americanese?
Yeah, Americanese.
um
Americanese.
what how did that help you, um how did that help or hinder you, as far as keeping you from being yourself?
So I think it really actually hindered me instead of help. Um, because, obviously this accent stands out, and every single person that comes up to me in the clinic, oh, I love your accent. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know. I get this 20 times a day. People on the phone, oh, you're not from around here, are you? And I said, no, I'm not. And as my mum always says when they ask about her accent, she's like, I came from Brooklyn's finest finishing school. And I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. um, which I've also been called Australian. That was fantastic for like a few weeks. Apparently, I was Australian. I was like, yeah,
There's
absolutely.
definitely a difference. I don't
Okay, so
understand people who, okay.
I don't ask questions. As I said, this is like my new line. I don't ask questions. I just ... enter what's applicable. I don't ask questions. I just work here. I don't ask questions. I just live here. I don't ask questions. I don't understand everyone else. So I'm like, that's my mantra now, that I just ask questions. But it really did hinder me, because in kind of feigning that accent, which everyone has known me for that accent, but at home, not in front of anyone else who wasn't family, like immediate family, like basically my mum or my dad, it was just this constant American accent, which I'm sure all of you are just dying to hear right now.
I've heard
I
it.
can tell. I know you've heard it. Bridgeport Witch has heard it. That's how she knew me for like most of my life, and then she was like, "What the hell just happened to you?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Because
hi."
when I first popped into your streams, you had this weird combination of American and English.
Yep.
Because certain words, like I was like, wait, is she American or is she English? What the heck is going on here?
Because that was still me just being like, do I really just be myself, or do I still conform? I don't really know. But for those of you wondering in chat, it basically just sounds like this. And I learned a lot from a lot of 80s movies that had the Valley Girl accent. And this is how I got through every single thing in high school, in college, in middle school, and my job, where it sucked. Because they used to make fun of British accents. And it's absolutely boring. I hate doing that so much.
It's and that is it's so funny. As someone who is now diving into accent work, I've been doing a lot of research with when it so I can now hear it, right? I can hear the differences, and I mean America itself has so many different dialects, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm Southern, but I don't really sound Southern because
Right.
I actually had speech therapy growing up, so my accent is virtually gone because I had to have so much therapy. But my mama and daddy, they sound like this, right? Like
I love it. I love it. Well, see, that's also what my mum was afraid of, and that's why she told me. She's like, we got all these like movies and stuff, and she's like, just try to fake this as best as you can, because I have always what she calls this is like a very good musical ear, that I can hear instantly differences between things. Like I used to like do so much musically. I used to sing, I used to piano, I used to do so many different things. And I just have a very good ear. So it's the reason why that I can drop into that accent like that. I can drop into an accent like this if I want to. If I try really hard, I can, because I try to focus on that and really remember what I can. But I can also focus on stuff like that, so to
oh,
speak.
the Irish accent I find quite fun lately. I mean, um
Exactly. Exactly. But then
people are
also,
just idiots when it comes to the accents thing. And I understand the whole making fun of your accent. Like when I went off to college, I wanted to get rid of my accent. The little bit of Southern I still had, because Southern people are stupid. That's a stigma, right?
right.
Anyone who sounds like this, anyone who has any kind of drawl, any kind of twang in their voice are stupid.
Which
That's
that that makes me so sad, because that's literally like now two of my like favorite people. Is it Bridgeport Witch and Violet Ivy? They have like this beautiful drawl, and I'm just like, oh, it is so gorgeous. And then when you're doing this drawl, I'm like, stop.
it's
And
so
I think
funny. You are
it's just
not the
absolutely
first
gorgeous.
English person to say that they like the Southern accent, which is hilarious because if you look at dialects, the Southern dialect is the closest out of all of the American accents, all of the American dialects. The Southern dialect is the most closely related to the English accent, to the
Absolutely.
standard British accent. It is the most closely related because
Absolutely.
y'all ain't, those are all words from England. Those are
Yeah.
English words. And people, they don't understand that. And I'm like,
Like it's like it's like as they do. Hey, bruv, I ain't gonna give you a dime. You can fuck off. Sorry. 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 I'm sorry, Mum. I'm so sorry. I knew I said a professional. I'm so sorry. But it's, it's like stuff like that. Like you get the really heavy accents, you get the like, Irish accent. I can do so many, I think. I can do a French accent. Like I can literally pretend like I speak French really well. Because I've studied the language for so long. And it's then also why I can kind of mimic Liliana's voice, which is like literally my favorite accent. Because not only does she have this kind of French accent, but she also has the British, and I absolutely love it. Because it just throws in so many nuances, and it's so wonderful. And this is what kind of adds to my individuality. That basically I am what I am, and you get what you get. End
Exactly.
of the story. End of the day. And I just think it's so stupid that in order to kind of survive, if you will. I mean, not really survive, but survive, if you will, in the jungles of the American school system. If you pretend to just sound like everyone else in the district, and you kind of just keep your head ducked, you won't get pointed out as much. And for me, that was always a very big thing because I felt like I was kind of ashamed of having my accent, and I was like, do I really do it? Do I not do it? Because it's like I want to kind of be recognized for things that I do, and I think also that's why I never went for doing things a lot, because I knew like if I wasn't careful it would slip out, and I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind.
When
So
did you finally just say, I'm done trying to fake this accent?
roughly the same time I started on Twitch. Not gonna lie, I think
So
it
that's
was
pretty
because
recent.
yes, because it was just at the point where I just got so upset, just like mentally and emotionally drained, and I was like, you know what? Why do I have to keep pretending? For goodness sake, like this, it's ridiculous. I don't want to pretend being this thing that I'm not. I mean, yeah, it's great. I can do all these accents. I can do everything. I can fit in. If you ask me to go to France, I can fit in. If you ask me to go to Spain, I could probably fit in. If you ask me to go anywhere, I can probably fit in. But I don't want to fit in. I want to stand out and be who I am. And through Twitch, honestly, if it wasn't for like the very first streamer that I went on to, which was Sire Wiggles, his channel was fantastic. He kind of set this pathway to be like, yeah, you can go for it, go for streaming. Don't be limited by stuff. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty good, solid advice. I'm gonna go for it. And then I just tried it, but I was still so nervous. And honestly, Twitch has like kind of helped me out of my bubble, and it's one of the best gifts I think I could have asked for, like finding this platform to, you know, expand and just truly be happy. And I think this is the happiest I've been out of the whole 24 years of my life so far. That I'm just entirely thrilled with like the course of everything, how it's been going so far, and it's just a wonderful feeling, when you kind of finally realize like, this is at the end of the day where I fit in. And then being in girl streamers as well, like honestly, the whole community just makes me feel like so loved each day with like the daily chats and then the Galaxy Girls and just everything. It's so wonderful because I feel like I can just kind of retreat back there if I need to and help someone who's been having a bad day in like all the different sections, and just chat away with people who actually just like care, and it's so lovely.
It,
Honestly, I love it.
I agree. I've I obviously grew up in a southern place, so my accent was, but I stuttered really badly, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's where like my speech stuff came from, and I couldn't blend like
Mm-hmm.
th. I couldn't blend the sh sounds and the th sounds. Like I couldn't physically
Mm-hmm.
say them. Um, so I understand from that aspect and from that perspective. And luckily for me, the training has actually helped out. And because of all of those accents, I'm going to tell you, you should probably join me in GTA.
um Secretly, your streams, music chick streams, and Kip Booger's streams have been making me want to kind of join.
One
um
of us. One of us. Um,
Oh, I'd love to, honestly. I think next time GTA is on sale, I'm just gonna go grab a copy. Just be like,
I am seriously obsessed, and I hate myself for it. But it's so fun to play around with those accents because
yeah.
they're so fun to like. I have so many. I have so many things. I have so many things. Um, so many things in my head that I want to eventually roll out, and just
Mm-hmm.
letting things roll out right now. Although the one character I will anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. I could. This is not good for me to get on that subject. This is not my podcast.
It's a
uh,
dialogue. It's a dialogue. So, you know,
it's
it goes where it wants to go.
but I love that you are still young. I mean, I'm not old. I'm older than you. It's funny. My husband and I were actually discussing the age difference between me and a friend, and that I'm watching. Like, I see a friend struggling, and I can't help him, and it, it
Mm-hmm.
it kills me because he is early. He's mid 20s, and oh God, I'm just like, I remember going through all of this at that age. Like, I can't, like, and it's like, I see you and I want to tell you how to go through that and what to do, but you can't. Like, you have to let that person experience that. And I love that you've been able to come to that conclusion that you're fine with who you are at such an early age. Cause I didn't hit that. I didn't hit that until I was 30. When I
Mm-hmm.
finally hit 30, I accepted being happy who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it it is it's hard, especially when I mean, we're white women, right? So
Yes.
we don't have as much to deal with as, say, a woman of color or a
Mm-hmm.
trans woman, right? I mean, we all have our own, don't get me wrong. I'm not invalidating anything that either one of us have gone through, but
Mm-hmm.
when you add those extra labels, right, that society puts on us, it makes it a lot harder. And going through these type of things, it's nice to be able to see other women being able to lift up from that and come from that and accept who they are. And
Absolutely.
I am very proud of you for dealing with my dog who won't stop barking. I'm really sorry.
Makes me so happy. Hi, puppers.
I just yelled at my dog and muted myself so you didn't hear me yell at them. Um, I just screamed "shut up" at my dog, and they shut up.
It's
Uh,
okay. I do the same thing with Lucy, and she looks at me and she glares and she's like, "How dare you? I'm trying to alert you about the deer that's like 50 feet away." Because she does this thing. She does this thing now. She's got a window right by her little playpen. Like I've installed like the little gate and everything, and she's got like a nice cozy bed, all her toys everywhere, and the bowls which she keeps slamming against the floors because she's like, "I want more food." And I'm like, "You've had your fill for the day. It's fine." So she'll put her head on the windowsill and she'll just be looking.
my dog does that too.
And then, but the thing is, like, she gets so upset when she sees something. And I'm just like, can you stop? You're giving me anxiety attacks to think that there's maybe like some burglar about to like come in through the closet. Like, what's wrong with you? Come on, enough.
It's like, thank you for barking at the bird that landed on the patio, Tonks, but I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, she's a nutcase, but I love her, and I'm trying to get her to be a certified therapy dog, which was my whole plan when I got this golden retriever.
I was
Because
just about to ask what
I
kind of dog she was. So,
yes,
golden.
golden retriever.
Aww.
She's a dog, but she is very intelligent. She is also on her like third level of training before we get to like actual testing before we go through the canine good citizen testing. But when I saw her at the store where I got her from, I honestly just like fell in love because she had like this big personality to her, and she was like such a tiny little pups, and she's also born the day after me, so ha ha ha. Um, I just make it even cuter and everything. But I saw her and I saw like this amount of like potential in her, honestly, and like she was like so like on the topic of individuality. That's why I'm linking this back here, by the way. She was such an individual. Was that like she was like flipping around? She was like rolling on her back. She's like pawing at the air, trying to get my attention. I pull out this puppy and she's just like all over me. She's absolutely like, the sweetest thing, sweeter than pie. And then she does like these things now that it's individual to her, and I can't really train him out of it. So I absolutely love it. Like, she does this thing where if you're having such a bad day, you can go like hang out with her, and you're like, Lucy, I need a hug. She'll actually like climb up, put her paws like right up against your shoulders, and she just hugs you because she knows that's
Oh,
what you need. And that's just like,
I'm not
it just
crying.
makes
You're crying.
I,
That's so
I am actually crying.
cute.
But like she just kind of figured out how to do this herself, and I'm like, this is such an individual dog. Like I've never experienced this with an animal like this before, and I'm utterly amazed at what she does.
It's
Um,
amazing how intuitive dogs are with that
absolutely.
kind of stuff. Um, we have two dogs, Tonks and Remus, and they're both
Mhm,
essentially mutts. Remus is more of a mutt than Tonks is. Tonks is definitely a pit, uh, possibly
mhm,
lab mix. Um, because you can see the pit in her, but you can also see the lab in her, and we think there might be a little border collie. And
mhm,
we wanted to get them trained, but I don't know like how you go through getting a dog trained as a therapy dog. But I deal with depression and anxiety big time. And
mhm,
when I was going through my panic attacks, my severe panic attacks that would cause seizures,
mhm,
I would lay in bed and the dogs would come and lay on top of me to keep me from seizing up because I would have
mhm,
seizures. I would shake so bad, and they just did it. Like they both just came right up to me, and
mhm.
Tonks would lay her head on my chest, and it's amazing to me how smart dogs are. Like they are so smart,
I
so
love it.
smart. It's insane. So anyway, uh, wow, man. Um, I itches right now.
You sure you're not crying?
I'm not crying. You're crying. I
I
love my
was.
dogs. I love
I
my
was.
dogs.
Um, well, I mean, but yeah. So Lucy's just like she's a fantastic dog. And that's what I do in my spare time. I try to train her, and I mean, she's pretty good. She knows like her weight. She's also very good when we go out because I let her out in the front yard because that's what she does, and she always comes back and promptly sits and waits for me to let her in. She gets mad if I don't let her in. She starts barking at the front door like, "Let me in, or else!" I'm like, "Okay, fine," and I open the door for her. But she's just, she's just like such an individual, and I think it's really something as well. It's just like I feel like this is going to be a very, very out there thought. Chat can just go crazy. But I feel like animals also kind of help you find your personality because you kind of feed off the energy that they give you and they feed off the energy that they give you. And in a way, like you kind of become like these two individuals, but you can learn to bond so well with your animal. I mean, even cats, not even just dogs, but even
Right.
cats as well. Like, I just got a new kitten, which he's been posted in the Discord more than a few times. And he is just such a troublemaker. I love, by the way, chat. I love cats and dogs. Okay, just no bias. I love all
She's a
animals. I
vet.
even
She
love
loves all animals, or
except snakes.
except snakes.
Except snakes.
But it's not that you
um,
don't love them; you're just terrified of them.
yeah, exactly. Because I don't want them to strangle me while I'm working on them. But this kitten that I have now, he's just like he's such a maniac. But the thing is the minute you pick him up, he's a purring machine, and he doesn't want to leave your arms. And I'm like, I've never had a cat like this. I've had about like 7 cats in my life so far, and I've never had one that he'll like willingly sit there. And there was actually time on Friday. I'm working on like stuff on my mum's website. I'm working on other stuff for streaming, and I just have him on my lap, and he's just not moving. He's watching the stream that we're watching, and I'm just like, who are you? What even? And I'm like, is this called bonding? Like, this is literally like this is my personality embodied in a cat, where we just want to sit there on a nice cozy blanket and just do our stuff.
I
I just
don't think that's actually insane. I can totally see that. Cuz you know, well, with any kind of relationship, you pick up personality traits from that person, right? Like so um my husband, right? My husband
mhm
and I, he is very introverted. I'm more extroverted than he is introverted, but we've definitely pushed each other's boundaries, and he's actually brought me in a bit and helped me curb that like I was extremely angry when we got together. um Anger issues run heavily in my family.
Mhm.
But he helped like that. He helped curb that, right? And my husband and I helped him like kind of get out of his shell and be a bit more um talkative and more and network more and a bit more ambitious with stuff. And
Mhm.
so I as people with relationships we do that, so I can totally see animals doing that as well, because animals have their own personalities, but they definitely um will pick up on their owners' personalities big time as
Mhm.
well. So I can totally I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
Okay, good. I thought I was just going crazy for a minute. I'm glad someone else can see that.
No. And and I think that's why you have those bonds with those animals and why you do get so close, because anyone who's ever had a pet that's not a horrible human being and abuses their pet, whenever they lose that pet, it's like it is literally losing a family member. It's
Yeah.
excruciating, it's heartbreaking. And the longer that pet has been in your life, the harder it is. Just like with a human, the longer a person has been in your life, the harder it is, because of the value that they add to your life. Um, and there's a lot of value to having an animal. And studies have shown, research has shown that having an animal, whether it's a dog or a cat or any kind of pet, really, it's the toxin, like it not toxins because it's not toxins, but it releases,
Mhm.
what is it, endorphins and stuff like that, just from petting and bonding with them. Like there is a
Yeah,
release.
usually it's the serotonin, which is
Serotonin,
what's
that's
needed
it.
for the brain levels to feel happiness, as well as like dopamine.
Yeah,
Um which it's like this amazing mutually beneficial cycle for both of us. And
exactly.
that's see, that's the thing. That's animal science 101. Then you always have to remember that question because it always shows up in every single test everywhere. What is the chemical that releases every single time an animal is pet with us or we interact with an animal? And I'm like, oh, I hate this question because it's always like what one of my professors used to do is like they had serotonin twice, but they misspelled serotonin.
Ah, that's just mean. That's
Like,
just so mean.
he always did that, but then he had like this great extra credit question. He's like, what is my tattoo of? And it's like you had to be there on the lecture to see his tattoo of a sea urchin that was a hydra, and it was a fill in the blank. And it was a fill in the blank, and I was like, I don't remember the specific. I'm like, it's a hydra, like the bad guy. And then I just like gave it to him, and he just looked at me. He's like, really? I'm like, what do you want from me? You told us that's the joke that you made, and that's all I remember. I mean, honestly, like I don't remember the exact species of it. It's just the hydra, like the bad guy. And he still gave me points for it, but he was just like, the face that he gave was just like,
Husband must be walking in the door. Um, yeah, it and I. That's why I think therapy dogs or therapy pets, because I'm pretty sure cats can be therapy
yes,
pets now.
yes.
It
Also, rabbits
Yes,
and
yes.
ferrets and chinchillas apparently now,
Oh,
which is really cool.
okay, chinchillas. Oh my god, I could just hold a chinchilla all day. They're so soft. They're so soft.
Absolutely, I totally agree. We had a chinchilla come in on Wednesday, and it was literally like the best thing I've ever experienced. He was
So
like so fluffy. I was like, I love you, Charlie. I love you. And he just looked at me. He's like,
but you can't hold them very often, can you? Because
yeah,
don't
you
your
can.
oh, you can. For some reason, I was
Yeah.
thinking like the oils from the hands can ruin their coats or something like that.
If they get their regular dust baths, then that's not a problem because at least they're still being able to like,
I
you know,
gotcha. I gotcha.
kind of keep their coat fresh, which is cool. Just never get your chinchilla wet.
Never get your
Don't
chinchilla
take
wet.
that out of context.
That is now going to be the title. That is the title of the podcast.
Oh, I love it. I love it. um, see, that's another thing. It goes back to
Never get your
individuality.
chinchilla wet. I just wrote it down.
But that goes back to like individuality. Like, that's me. Like I think of these things and I'm just like, oh, that can be taken out of context. Oh the heck, well, that's really funny. Who cares? And
It's bloody
I
hilarious.
Exactly.
Bloody
And
brilliance.
bloody brilliant. My goodness. And that's like the same humor that I share with like a lot of my friends in my community that and I absolutely love it. Um, I think the thing like this is how bad of like an individual I am that I'm like I want to catch shiny Pokemon while I'm in my off streaming games. All the shiny Pokemon in all the dexes because I want them to be loved because they're individuals. But I'm like, what is wrong with me? I don't know. But on a serious note, I honestly, I try to like advertise my community as just like I'm a very safe, open space for you to be like as individual as you want to be. I don't care if you're in the middle of transitioning from male to female, female to male. You're absolutely welcome. I try my best to always remember the pronouns that are applied appropriately. And I have no tolerance for anyone that doesn't listen properly. And if I get like anyone who's like being an idiot, I'm just like, tase them, get rid of them, just shoot them. Because for me, it's
Bleed
like
and age it.
exactly. But for me, my community has made me feel amazing. The way that I get interactions in my server on Discord, and the way that we've kind of built something from the ground up. Like it used to be this puny little thing, and now we've got like all the categories. I've renamed everything. It's just absolutely fantastic, and it's got interaction, and it's just a lovely, thriving community where everyone likes to interact with each other. And I get so many people just like will message me off ways, and they'll be like, hey, did you want to do X, Y, and Z like off stream today? Absolutely, like let's go ahead and heck and do it. Like, do you want to play Dauntless off stream? Absolutely, let's do it. And I love that everyone can feel like they can express themselves, and they could be like, well, I've been working on a thing. And I'm like, you've been working on a thing? Show me this thing, I want to see it. And I try to encourage everyone who does that. Like, I have this whole goal in mind is that, I know I won't be streaming for the rest of my life, even though I would love to do that. Sorry, mum. um, but, you know, I want to be able to make something for that because I have already some people in my community that have started to stream because I've kind of like pushed them a bit. And I'm just like, go for it, see what happens with it. I'm always here if you need me. You need help setting something up? I got you. You need help with this? I got you. And it's been this amazing thing to see people like, I've made some panels. Do you mind taking a look? I'm like, absolutely. And I want to be able to sort of pave the way for people who want to get into streaming because I'm just like, I won't be always streaming. But if you will be streaming and it works for you, I want you to go for it because you have your own niche that I've seen in chat, and I think you can make it. I'm like,
Yeah.
kid, you can make it. Like, you can absolutely do it. And that's like the kind of individuality that I want to inspire. I'm always like, especially from like the Ashley Christ videos, it's like,
Oh, I
find that
love her stuff.
individuality. She's fantastic. And I just want everyone to, if they really want to go for something, go for it. Because
I am working on getting her on the podcast. When I asked
oh my
her, I
god,
ended up taking a
amazing.
break, so I'm hoping to ramp that back up, and get get people like her and some others.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big fan of Girlstreamers herself, and
Oh my god,
we
I love it.
really she's mentioned Girlstreamers a couple of times, and we really like her over here as well. She's her. I've learned so much from her. Like she's really
Mhm.
really good.
Oh yeah,
Um,
like she's like one of the first videos that I try to because I have like my whole little streaming corner in my Discord, right? And I've got like the how tos and everything, and I post like a lot of her stuff, and I'm just like, you guys, if you really want to get into streaming, even when you guys ask me questions, I'm like, I'm always referring from her or from things that I've learned from people who have
because she does
referred
her
to her.
research. Like
Exactly.
she does the research for us. Just listen to her.
Exactly. And that's also why as well, like again with the whole rebrand that I did, to find my individual self, um it was kind of worth it. So instead of it just being like a variety streamer, I really am like a medieval art that focuses mainly on Dragon Age more than, like Skyrim, than The Witcher, but I still play it. And I still play Fable, and I still play games that are similar in that medieval thing. Like we were playing The Sims Medieval on Saturday, and I was supposed to play Dragon Age, but we played The Sims Medieval, and I was trying to assassinate the queen, but apparently it didn't work out that well.
I love The
Um,
Sims. Love
but
it.
Sims Medieval is fantastic, honestly. The fact that you can have like such a big story element to it, and they can actually get mad at not being able to fight someone, like literally get into a fight. It's great.
I have not. Okay, I have not looked at. Is that with Sims 4? Like, is that part of a Sims?
No,
It's completely
that's all
its
the way
own
back
thing.
from the Sims 3 era. Yes,
Oh.
yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it literally plays like a role-playing game. It's just so friggin' fantastic. I love it. But
I love
you
role play in Sims games. Like those are like my
Mhm.
favorites. Favorite games. That's fantastic. I wish more of the stuff from Sims 3 would come to Sims 4 personally, cuz
Same.
I love Sims 4. I love the creative character in Sims 4. It is so good.
I
I've
want
been
my color selection tool though. Where
I
did that go?
know. Oh, I miss that so much. Let me be able to like really change the hair color and like ah. I
Exactly.
hate that about Sims 4. I wish I could get my color selection tool.
It's like that's my blonde, but it's not my blonde. Like I am not happy with this, and I won't be able to change this until I get my hair done yet again. Are you absolutely kidding me right now? Oh my goodness. Which that's actually another thing. For those in chat, if you've seen the tweets, you see on my streamer card, dyed my hair 14 times. That's not an exaggeration. That's probably accurate.
What?
Um, I have gone from this beautiful inky bluish black, which was all the way up in high school, to a carrot top orange blonde that was an in between that I had for a while. And then I went
Oh, I
to
thought you meant you dyed your hair 14 times to get where it is right now. Like
nope,
14 times
14 times in my life so
total.
far.
Oh, yeah, I lost count. I have no idea how many times I've dyed my hair.
Well, I can just say this one took so long. This time it took me like 7 hours to get. I was like absolutely dying, but it
Did
was
you
it
go
was
get it
honestly the worth.
done or do
Yes,
it yourself?
I always
Yeah.
go get it done. I don't trust myself. I have these
I
results. So I don't trust myself.
I haven't found a hairdresser here since we
Hmm.
moved, but I miss my old girl because she's the one who would do like the really cool hair. Like this is what I did. This is
Hmm.
what I did is one color because I can do one color. I can't do more
Hmm.
than one color. And she would do these phenomenal like just oh god. Man, my hair used to look so awesome.
See, I
ah.
I I like sometimes envy the fact that you can like people have this option to like really like go crazy with hair colors, whereas like I kind of really can't do it, even though I'd love to one day be like this like deep blood like red, or sometimes like maybe like an actual like flame orange, or maybe like a deep actual navy blue, but I can't do that because I work in like a professional setting. So
Mhm.
for me, my whole kind of basis is just like it's actually really funny when I make a character and I'm just like kind of sick of like doing the same character. I'm like, I'm gonna change the hair color, and then like a week later, I need to go make an appointment to get my hair changed. And then all of a sudden, like my character has the same hair color as me, and then it changes. And then you see, my friends were like, "Are you gonna be changing your hair color soon?" No, why? You've changed the hair color again. Shit. so so
Don't make your
technically,
hair color blue or pink then in your characters because that wouldn't work
I
well.
don't. I don't.
I mean,
That'd
if
be
you have
horrible.
your own practice,
Maybe.
then
Yeah,
you can do
maybe.
whatever the heck you want because you're the boss.
Exactly. But basically like no super crazy colors. But there's like for me, it's so funny. Like when when I go out and I get my hair done, and it's just like it could be any color. Like I've been a really pretty ginger red. I've been um a more like maroonish kind of red. Like it just changes who I am. I feel like, but it still keeps to like some aspect of my personality. So like I feel like the best way to compare personality is, I don't know if you guys know the whole Pokemon, like the special attack, like the little kind of like um starburst that it has, where it tells you like all these different aspects, right? And then it would be like if you gave a candy or like a Poke block to a Pokemon, it would change that aspect, right?
Yeah.
So change my hair color. It's like this highlight of my personality comes to more light, and the other things kind of like quiet down. Change my hair again, this kind of like comes to light, everything else quiets down. This comes to light, everything else quiets down. But it's so weird when I'm a blonde. I just feel like that's just everything in general, and I'm just like, oh, that's why I like being blonde. But my mom doesn't like because she's like the roots are growing out again, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Blonde is, I was blonde for a while. It is tough to keep blonde when you have dark hair.
Yes.
I have the dark brown hair, and it's difficult to. You have to go do touch ups so often when it's blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the color. I was purple. I've always dyed my hair purple before I ever streamed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not purple because of Twitch. It's been purple because that's just I dyed it purple because I was doing a cosplay for Ursula and I was like, "Ooh, this would be fun to do purple hair, not white hair." I was like, "Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
purple to go with the black and purple for the cosplay."
Yes.
And I fell in love with the color because it fades so beautifully
Mm-hmm.
when you when it's dyed properly. Like the color fades so nicely and so well that I don't have to get it touched up as often as any other color. That's
Right.
why I like purple hair. And that's why it is now my signature color when I dye my hair. Some shade of purple because it fades and I don't have to touch it up as often because I'm cheap.
Yes.
Hashtag truth.
Yes. That's why I went ginger orange, and I loved it. Great. And people were like, "Oh, you're going for the Scully look," and I'm like, "No, I'm going for the Liliana look." The who? Never mind. It's okay. Um, or it was like I went like jet black, and then they're like, "Oh, you're going for this?" I'm like, "No, I'm going for the Yennefer look." But hey, I mean, well, whatever. It's
Oh, are
fine.
you trying to be emo? Because you're
That
all
would
black?
that's another thing. That's why I kind of like blonde and red hair because you can wear all black and no one has a problem with it. But as soon as you like get black hair, they're like, "Oh, you're going through a phase, I see." And I'm like,
Oh my
"No."
God, yes!
And you're like, "No, it's not.
Yes!
It's okay."
Yes! Yes!
It's just absolutely horrible.
I dyed my hair black and pink once. Um, and it there was a accidental, like the way the girl dyed it. It ended up like mixing at the bottom, so it was like this cool like ombre pink and purple stripe into
Ooh.
the right. It was really really cool. It looked great. That black took so long to grow out of my hair.
It always does. It
Black is,
always does.
oh my god, black is. I will never dye my hair black. I did it once. I'll never dye it black again, ever, ever, ever. Because I'm pale, so it doesn't look good on me anyway. Like black
So
just does.
that's
Yeah.
that was one of the things that like I found that if you get the right thing as putting in like the navy blue tintage into it, so it's still black, but like the highlights came up as navy blue. It really looked nice against pale skin because I am absolutely pale as can be. Because I have an aversion to the sun, as Bridgeport Witch knows. I'm a vampire. I don't go out into the sun at all if I can help it. That's why I write such really good vampires, isn't that right, Bridgeport Witch? Um, so, so it really worked well for a bit, but the problem was that was the whole like hot topic phase and hot topic era, and it was fine then. And then I tried to go back to it in my second year at the college in my state currently, and that didn't go over that well. They were all like, "Are you okay? Do you need to talk to someone?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just going through my color changes." Oh, they're like color changes, and I'm like, "Yeah, I periodically change my hair." They're like, "Oh." And it was one thing I actually, it's so funny. I had dyed my hair black again when I started up at the because I'm doing at one of the community colleges just like spare courses. Which, by the way, if you're going into a STEM field and they're telling you to take biochemistry, microbiology, organic chemistry, and all those other fun things, take them at a community college. You will be so happy you did because they're usually 9 times less difficult. I'm telling you all right now, if you're in a STEM field, if you're doing anything like that, take all your courses that you need to, that are the cool courses outside of your main college, and then go back. Just
I
head
I
tip there.
recommend going to personally. I recommend starting at a small school and then going into a bigger school, just
That
because
too.
not everybody can handle being at a big university and
That too.
it's intimidating. So,
That too.
and plus, your first 2 years, you get rid of all of the basics out of the way quickly, and then you can, move along.
Exactly. So but anyway, so it was funny. So like I started up again, and at the community college, so I befriended the chemistry professor, and I told him, I said, by the way, if I don't look like myself in about, I don't know, one semester or so, I'm still the same person. I just might have changed my hair, but I keep the same. I'll keep the same seat for you, so you recognize me. He looked at me. He's like, what? And I said, I dye my hair a lot. Oh, good to know. Good to know. And I mean, okay, so he's really a great chemistry professor, by the way. So I mean, he gets a 10 out of 10 on Rate My Professor. He gets a 5.0. He's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, for me, like individuality stems from stems. It comes from, so proud of myself. It comes from me being able to feel like I can be myself now on Twitch, which is just, it's a really wonderful feeling. And also coming from the background I do now, it's honestly fun to be able to have these skills to offer everyone that comes up to me. Like I said, like I try to focus and bring my community to be individuals, and we all somehow have this weird crazy love and affection for things that are medieval and Dungeons and Dragons and all this role playing stuff, and I'm like, heck yes, friends, let's do it. And it's a really wonderful thing at the end of the day, where I have, like, my mod, he comes in and he's like, are we being evil today? Are we killing people? And I'm like, no, we're not killing people. This is the pacifist run. Lame. Let me know when the evil playthrough happens. And I'm like, not now. So I made an evil playthrough on The Sims Medieval, and he was like, kill them all, burn the town down. I'm like, I can't do that. This is a Sims game. It's rated E for everyone. Come on. so, so but like, these are the, like, everyone in my community, I would not trade them for anything, because I absolutely love the way that they approach the world, and the way that they think about topics and subjects, and we can all be very serious, have like wonderful meaningful conversations in the Discord server, in private DMs, in stream. And I try to, like I said, make it really feel like you can be yourself. I never am one to judge, because people used to judge me, so why am I going to then flip it around all of a sudden? Everyone is just like, you're absolutely wonderful, you're so great. And I'm like, I'm really just an average person. I just want you guys to feel as comfortable as possible. That's why I try to inspire you guys to be your individual self. And even for people who aren't like in that STEM background, like if they're like, oh well, I was doing music for a bit and then I did like some art and stuff, and I'm like, that's awesome, you should still learn how to code though, because it's a really good thing for you to have. because because I say this as in, like, you never know when you're going to need it. And I feel, especially now that we're entering the age of computers, and more people are using digital art tablets and everything, I'm like, it's always a good thing to know how to troubleshoot. It's always a good thing to know how to, like,
Yeah.
quickly code through. And especially for the artists that build their computers, I'm like, you should definitely know what goes into your computer, that you need a different type of CPU to process what you need for that. For editing especially, I know you guys need really really heavy CPUs, so that you can process all like the video compression and all the frameworks and everything,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
I'm dropping a pretty penny on my tower. But
Hmm.
and I basically said, this is what I need to do, and this is what I was looking at. And um Mav, my guy who built it, was like, okay, well, if you want to do that as well as stream it, we should probably up you a little bit, and
Hmm.
upgrade to this and this, and this will be all right. You should be good with this, and then later you can upgrade. Like, he was really knowledgeable, really helpful. And it's like, my render times went from 2 hours for a 30-minute video down to about 45 minutes, which is,
Yeah.
when you have a powerful enough computer, that's what it should take. I mean, uh, little bit of knowledge. The hair for Sully in Monsters Inc. 2,
Hmm.
in the second one where they went to college, the
Yes.
prequel essentially,
Yes.
took days to render. Days. because it was so detailed and so days on
I can
high
believe it.
powerful computers. It took days to render his hair
I
on
can
that
absolutely
monster.
believe it. I can
And
absolutely believe it.
so, and that's the kind of stuff that I do. Sometimes I have to leave my computer depending on how, because the more graphics you add to it, the longer it's going to take. If it's just a straight edit and it's like a 1 to 2 minute video, it's going to take 1 to 2 minutes to render. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have your edit plus all of these extra things, the more you layer
Mm-hmm.
on to it, the longer it takes. So,
Right.
um, I haven't even attempted 4K bearded cyclist. So there's
Oh boy.
yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot when it comes to that stuff. And I have knowledge in the database field because I took computer information sciences as my minor in college
Mm-hmm.
while I was studying film. But God, I haven't had to use that. So I don't really remember it.
Right.
It helps me when I'm creating like flowcharts in Google to like, okay, when I type this in, this will pop up, right? Like I know that, but that's about
Mm-hmm.
it for me. When it comes to computer stuff, I just know just what I've picked up over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and basic like HTML code because I do my own website, which is garbage. I'd rather just pay somebody to do it, but I don't.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
I
there
see.
yet.
I love HTML coding. Like I've made my whole like PHP BB format on like a forum board. I've tried to learn how to do that. It's just such a pain to like keep upgrading the server. I mean my biggest thing is I used to be so good at making like Sims 3 and Sims 2 content. Like I would make conversions, I would pick up like the models from that were like ripped from games. Like there was this one that was like my crowning achievement was an Alan Wake cutout that they took from the Alan Wake game and I put it into The Sims 3 and I was like, I've made something. But
Nice.
the best thing the best thing I loved is just learning how to like install mods and just mod my games like crazy. And it's so funny because it's the same thing again though. Like when you first start doing something which still counts in like this whole STEM field, like modding my game, I was absolutely petrified. I was like, I don't know where to start. I
Same.
don't
Like
know
I
what
don't
to
want to
do.
screw it up. I don't know where to put it.
But
Yes.
now it's just like I can go X, Y, and Z. Like I've tried doing Dragon Age Inquisition with mods with DAI Mod Manager and Frosty. It doesn't work. I'm like, all right, and I just start over again because at this point, like I've done this so many times, I'm like, it's probably a simple fix, and then it is, and I'm just like, wow. And then I go back, and sometimes I do reflect on myself. I'm just like, this is actually pretty interesting to know that, like, a few years ago, like when I first started gaming, I was absolutely terrified about modding and I didn't know anything. And now I'm just like, I can tell exactly which file it's going to be that's going to be conflicting. And I think that it's just so awesome that because I pushed myself to be more interested in it. And I'm just like, this is something that is really cool that like people can make these modded things. And when I'm playing Dragon Age Origins, I have the tool set that they created, that BioWare created and put out that you can make your own head morphs, you can make your own scenes and stuff.
Nice.
And I usually just like mess around with like Alistair and Wynn and Morrigan, and I try to make my own ones, and then I set it out, and then it's just this like big achievement to me, like when it's actually working, and it's not like my one highlight where Leliana was missing a head, and that was I died. I almost fell out of my seat because I could not believe that she was missing her head because there were no textures, and it was literally just this talking empty head, and that is like the best highlight. I've got myself like absolutely cracking up. I think I almost like smacked my face on the keyboard or something. I'm just is brilliant. And today again, like there's now like a missing texture which I have to go locate because the keeper of like the elves, the back of his head is missing. So now I can look directly at the back of his eyeballs, and I'm like, oh, okay. And again, I just started cracking up, and I just like I went and I like hid my head down, and I was just like silently laughing because I was so done. I'm just like, I can't believe I didn't bother to check this far into the game. But I'm like, this is the perils of modding, and now it's like this meme now in my community. It's like, oh no, Sarah took a game out of her lineup. Does that mean that she the game with mods again? And I'm just like, guys,
Nice.
I'm sorry to tell you this, and they're just like, you broke a game, didn't you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Well, we are actually getting close towards the end of the podcast.
mhm.
So we've got two questions for you.
Okay.
Scooter asks, which I think we actually kind of answered this question. Would you suggest going to a 4 year after high school or going to a community college rather than a university?
I would recommend that you kind of do both. A lot of times I would recommend, so now that being able to experience the community college side of things, I'd say go there. Like, I have never met more qualified professionals. There are more people with doctorates walking around in that community college than there are at the state university that I'm at right now. And I kind of think that that's slightly horrifying, but slightly impressive. Um, and the thing is, like, it's a smaller community, so the professors actually, they give a damn about you and making sure that you succeed. And there's this like one time where I was with my professor and I didn't finish my final and I was like about to like go into tears because I was already having an anxiety attack, very bad testing anxiety. And he took me upstairs into his office and he let me finish the test because he wanted
Oh,
to give me that fair chance. And I was just like, I was so broken over it because I couldn't believe that he'd done that. Whereas, like, if I was in my state university, that would have just been like, too bad.
that's so sweet.
And it's great because in now, like, I've gotten to know him. Like, I know all about like these stories with his kids. His wife's a vet tech as well, so it's like it's you get to know the professors on a more intimate basis.
Yeah.
Like one of the lab professors I had, he's got people who used to work in the Smithsonian for like all the chemical testings for like keeping things preserved. And I'm like, you wouldn't find this out about anyone at a big university. So definitely community college and then going on to a 4 year if that's what you want to do. Because a lot of the times your time at the university will get shortened anyway because you've already taken these cool classes and
Mm-hmm.
it cuts it all out. So then you can focus more on, having more fun and, joining clubs and going to do your more specific classes and everything, which is fantastic.
I mean, I took 8 years to get a 4 year degree, but you know, uh,
That's basically me at this moment. So I'm just like, all right.
I ended up going to 3 different schools. Um, yeah, just
Yeah.
and now I'm like everything that I learned in school. Most of my connections and networks that you're supposed to get in school, I didn't get
Mhm.
in film school because there's not a good film school in Georgia. So
Mhm.
I I ended up doing better outside of school, making networks, going to oddly enough conventions and going to their film tracks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um so, I have a love-hate relationship with school.
Same, honestly, same.
But I do agree with you on that definitely start off small and build up because one, you get those core classes out of the way and then you don't have to deal with them, and then when you go to the university you can just focus on your major instead of
Yes.
trying to get through those core classes. Because if you go to a university and do the core classes, your advisor, because the advisors are really not good no matter what no matter what school you go to, advisors suck. Period. Advisors suck. They'll try to get you into your major classes too soon. And so
Yes.
then you're a freaking senior taking a basic math class because you
Yes.
didn't take it your first 2 years.
Yes.
So, and the advantage that America has over other countries is you don't have to declare a major to go to school.
Yes.
So
Pretty great.
you have time. I mean, that's why a lot of English people come to America for school
Mhm.
because they don't have to, because you have to declare a major going to school in England. You have
Yes.
to. So our second question comes from Bridgeport. What is the longest amount of time you have sat playing a single game non-stop? I like that
But
question.
you should know
I
this
like it.
already, but fine. You should know this already. Probably the longest thing I've done nonstop would be either it would probably be Animal Crossing on the 3DS, just constantly doing like setting the times to 6 months behind and then starting to build my town up to the current date. Or it would probably have to be
I thought
Dragon
I
Age
was the
Origins.
only one who did the Animal Crossing time thing.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I totally
You know,
changed the
to,
time
to
so that I can get stuff that I couldn't get on the date.
Oh yeah. I currently have this very wonky setup that I've made from some of my physical copies.
Oh,
I've made
whoops.
like the ROMs and stuff, and I use a Citra emulator, and you cannot set the date, and it drives me absolutely insane. It's because it's like you have to do it, but then like you have to keep remembering to go back into the settings, switch the date, and then do that, and then you keep doing it, and I'm just like, too difficult. Don't want to do this right now. Nope, nope, nope. Just gonna go back to the Switch. Also, I did see like Scooter around asked about transferring credits. When you're doing the community college and you go onto your university, usually a lot of them have these deals kind of with that, or they have like the specific plans that um they will take those credits because they match up with their own cool codes. And a lot of times it's those basic core classes that they do at the community college will match up to what they need. Like for me right now, there's many websites. Well, there's like this one big website, and you can go and look at the school that you want to transfer your credits from to the institution you want to transfer it to.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can just match up the numbers, the course code itself to the one that you can take at the community college, and that's how you can transfer the credits over. But a lot of them as well, the one that I go to, if you already have that associate's degree, it just automatically like
Yeah.
rushes things out of the park for you, which is fantastic. And I kind of wish I'd done that first.
Yeah, if you have
So,
an associate's degree, it doesn't matter because you don't have to transfer any of those credits because
exactly.
those credits are already accepted.
Exactly.
As far as when it comes to like I went to school in Georgia. So when I was there are community colleges. So what they have is they have the state Georgia, it's like the state of Georgia school system as far as the university goes and colleges and 2-year schools and all of that stuff. So there's a list of schools that are in that system, and all of those schools you can transfer the credits for.
Yes.
It's most of the schools in the state, but there are some that are non-credited, essentially. So it has to be like for the state of Georgia, it has to be an accredited Georgia State school for it to transfer. Even if it's a private school, it still has to be accredited. So that's how it works in Georgia. I think it works similarly in most other states. How does that work in California? Like if you're trying to transfer from a small school to a university? Yeah. Cal State or UC system. Okay, so it's a similar system then. Okay, yeah. So, because that's where we live now, is California, and I've honestly been thinking about possibly going back to school because I'm an idiot.
No, see, you're not, because it's always good to go back to school. If you need to go back to school or want to go back to school, go for it.
Well,
okay?
I'm in California now, so I can actually take real classes for what I do for a living. And I want to learn animation. Specifically, I want to learn more on graphics and animation. Everything I have is self-taught. So, but that's money I don't have right now.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, we're at the end, ladies and gents. I mean, we got to wrap this up. We got 10 minutes to wrap this up, y'all. Holy crap. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. So, where and when can we find you streaming?
So I currently have a summer schedule that is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my winter to fall schedule will be Tuesday, Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Friday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that starts on September 4th.
Very nice. Thank you again so much for joining me. This has been a great discussion. I've learned a lot about STEM stuff and just you as it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Absolutely. It was such honestly a pleasure. I mean, I love being able to tell people about STEM, and especially like, if you ever had that feeling that you wanted to go and do something in this field, just go for it. Go for it. Just go with your gut. It's usually right.
Exactly.
You'll have a great time.
Exactly. Congratulations again on being Streamer of the Month for Girlstreamers. You guys should definitely go follow SarahtheSparrow on Twitch. And remember, this has been a podcast. This has been a Girlstreamers podcast, not just any podcast, but a Girlstreamers podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know why my closing scene is not working. Folks, give me just a second. We're gonna try this again. We're gonna try this again. This is gonna be edited. This is probably not gonna actually be edited, just because it's hilarious.
Awkward moments always make for great moments.
Awkward. It's awkward as fudge. Oh God, that's so loud. Okay, let's try this again. All right. This has been a Girlstreamers podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Girlstreamers is partnered with Loot Crate, Simple Jerky, UN Racing Chairs, Glom Tom, Sennheiser, and Humble Bundle. Links to all these amazing partners are down below, so please feel free to click. Thank you guys for all of your support. Please follow us at Girlstreamers on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. And if you have any questions or would like more information, you can visit our website at girlstreamers.com and contact us through there. You can subscribe to us on Twitch, and don't forget, when you do subscribe, you get access to our Discord channel. You even have a very special channel you get to talk to us in. And you can buy some super cool gear in our online shop at designbyhumans.com/shop/girlstreamers. You can find Sarah on Twitter at Sarah_the_rogue. That is SarahThe_ROGEUE. And on Twitch at twitch.tv/SarahtheSparrow. That is SarahThe_SPARROW. Our next podcast will be our next Streamer of the Month in September. Again, we are changing the format here, so please bear with us. We hope to bring you a lot more exciting people within the community and outside the community, and bring back some of our old ladies on the podcast, our old podcast guest. This podcast is a part of the Two Lazy Dogs Media Group and the Girlstreamers community. Encourage, support, grow.